Beautiful people. How are you guys doing? Hope everybody is doing amazingly well. Welcome back to another lesson of English with Ashish. And guys, in this lesson, we are going to talk about helping verbs. We'll learn what helping verbs are, different types of helping verbs in English, how to use helping verbs in a sentence, and how to identify them in a sentence. So the lesson is going to be detailed, it's going to be informative. Make sure you watch it until the end. If you guys are new to the channel, haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do it right now. Press that notification button as well so that every single time I publish a lesson, you get notified. I'm excited. I know you guys are too. Let's do it. Alright everybody, let's start with understanding what exactly a helping verb is. A helping verb, which is also known as an auxiliary verb. What is it? A helping verb or an auxiliary verb is a type of a verb that helps the main verb, that supports the main verb in a sentence. So it helps or supports the main verb in a sentence. And that is exactly why we call it a helping verb or an auxiliary verb, because it helps or supports the main verb in a sentence. And without the main verb, it cannot exist. Now, types of helping verbs. Two types. Number one, basic helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. Number two, modal auxiliary verbs. We'll understand them one by one separately. Let's start with the first one, auxiliary verb or helping verb, basic auxiliary verbs. Now, an auxiliary verb or a helping verb is a verb that helps the main verb in a sentence. It is followed by an action verb. Main point, it indicates the tense and the voice in the sentence. What it does, it indicates the tense and the voice, the active voice or the passive voice in a sentence, right? This is what it does. Now, let me show you all types of auxiliary verbs, right? Basic auxiliary verbs. So we have three types of regular or basic auxiliary verbs. These are to be form, to have form, and to do form. A way to remember them is do, be, have, do, behave, do, behave. In the to be form, we have three types, right? To be, basic, the base form, the present participle of to be, being, and the past participle of to be, been, and to have and to do. Okay, so in to be we have is, am, are, was, were, right? These work as a helping verb, right? And when they work as a helping verb, they're followed by either the present participle, an ing form of a verb, or a past participle, a third form of a verb. When they function as a helping verb, they're followed by either of these two actions, right? The present participle, ing form of a verb, or a past participle. Okay, being, is being, am being, are being, was being, and were being. And when these verbs function as a helping verb in a sentence, these are followed by the past participle, the third form of the verb. Okay, been, has been, have been, and had been. When these verbs function as a helping verb, when they function as a helping verb, they're followed by either the present participle or the past participle. We'll take enough examples, sufficient examples to understand these, right? Don't worry about that. Now, to have. In to have, we have has, have, had. And when these verbs function as a helping verb, they're followed by the past participle. Okay? And to do, we have three verbs in to do verbs. Okay, do, does, and did. And when these verbs function as a helping verb, they're followed by first form of a verb, v1. Okay, now let's understand these one by one. Okay, all right, so we have some examples of to be form and being form. Okay, let's look at these examples. You are teaching English. You are teaching English, right? So are is the helping verb followed by the main verb, which is teaching, a present participle, right? Ron was living in my house. Ron was living in my house. So was is the helping verb, living is the main verb. So was is referring to the past, right? Ron was living in my house, and the sentence is in the active voice. I am talking to Ron. I am talking to Ron. Again, am is the helping verb and it's referring to the present time, and the sentence is in the active voice. Okay, now These verbs is, am, are, was, were can be followed by a past participle as well. When do we do that? We do that when they are in the passive form, and it happens in simple present tense passive voice and past simple past tense passive voice. For example, you are loved by everyone. You are loved. V3 past participle. You are loved by everyone. Okay, so the sentence is in simple present tense passive voice. We're not focusing on the doer of the action. We're focusing on the receiver of the action. He was approached by a company. He was approached by a huge company. Simple past tense, passive voice, right? He was approached by a huge company. Okay, we're focusing on the receiver of the action. I am told, or I am appreciated by a lot of people. I am appreciated by a lot of people. Again, simple present tense, passive voice. Everyone appreciates me. Active voice, I am appreciated by everyone. Okay, passive voice. So is, am, are, was, were. When these verbs function as a helping verb, they're either followed by an ing form of verb, which happens in present continuous tense and past continuous tense. Is, am, are, present continuous tense. Was, were, past continuous tense. When they're followed by V3 past participle, they are used in simple present tense passive voice, is, am, are, right, and simple past tense passive voice, was, were. Okay, now am being, are being, was being, were being. Okay, let's take some examples. I am being approached by a huge firm for a job. I am being approached, right? So it's followed by a past participle. The tense is present continuous tense. Somebody is approaching me. A huge firm is approaching me for a job. Present continuous tense active voice. I am being approached. Approached is the main verb, is the action verb. All right, and it's in the passive voice. We're not focusing on the doer of the action. We're focusing on the receiver of the action. I didn't do the action. A huge firm did the action, right, which is the doer of the action, but we're not focusing on that. We are focusing on the receiver of the action. I am being approached. Okay, he is being approached, she is being approached, you are being approached. We are being fed the answer. We are being fed the answer. We're not talking about who fed us the answer, right? We're not doing that. The sentence is in the passive voice, present continuous tense passive voice. Somebody is feeding us the answer, or they are feeding us the answer. We're not saying that. We're not talking about the doer of the action, the actual subject, right? So we are being fed the answer. Feed, fed, past participle, third form of the verb feed. Okay, he was being beaten brutally. He was being beaten brutally. Past continuous tense passive voice. Somebody was beating him brutally. Past continuous tense active voice. We don't know who that person is. He was being beaten brutally, right? He was being beaten brutally. So is, being, are being, was being, were being, these verbs as a helping verb are followed by a past participle, and they're used in passive voice, present continuous tense passive voice and past continuous tense passive voice. Okay, if they're not followed by any action verb, they're actually working as linking verbs, main verbs. All right. For example, I am being sarcastic. I am being sarcastic. We are being funny. Okay, here these verbs are working as linking verbs, not helping verbs, and they're not followed by any action verb. You can see. Okay, the next is been. Okay, third form or the past participle of to be. Okay, so we have has been, have been, and had been. Okay, they're either followed by an ing form of verb, present participle, or a past participle, third form of verb. We have examples for both the cases. He has been working here since 2014. He has been working here. He has been working. Present participle, ing form of verb. So it's the helping verb, working is the main verb. He has been working here since 2014. This is present perfect continuous tense. This is present perfect continuous tense. Okay. We have been teaching for 3 years. We have been teaching for 3 years. Have been helping verb, teaching main verb. Right. Present perfect continuous tense. John had been waiting for you before the cab arrived. Past perfect continuous tense. John had been, main verb, waiting. John had been waiting for you before the cab arrived. Okay. So they're used in present perfect continuous tense and past perfect continuous tense. In active voice, has been, have been, and had been can also be used in passive voice. Let's look at the examples. When they're used in the passive voice, they're followed by a past participle, a third form of verb. He has been selected for a job. For the job. He has been selected for the job. This is present perfect tense passive voice. Somebody has selected him for the job. We're not talking about the person. We don't even know who that person is. He has been selected for the job. Somebody has selected him for the job. No, he has been selected for the job. So, present perfect tense, passive voice, has been selected. They have been killed in an accident. They have been killed in an accident. Okay, so have been followed by killed. We don't know who killed them. Okay, it's in the passive voice. We're not talking about the doer of the action. I had been fired from the job. Past perfect tense passive voice. Who had fired me? We're not talking about that. I had been fired. Somebody had fired me from the job. Okay. We don't know who that person is, right? So that's why we're writing the sentence in the passive voice. I had been fired from the job by somebody. We can insert the doer of the action as well if we want to. Okay. So that's been formed. Now, to do. In to do, we have three auxiliary verbs, three helping verbs. These are do, does, and did. Okay, all these verbs are followed by first form of a verb. Okay, let's look at these examples and understand these. Example number one, you don't know me well. So do here is the helping verb, know is the main verb, right? Not is the negation. It's don't is a contraction of do not, don't. Now understand this, do, does, and did are used either in interrogative sentences or negative sentences. Can they be used in positive sentences, affirmative sentences? Yes, they can. Where we'll talk about it. Okay, have patience. Okay, so you don't know me well. They don't know me well, right? Do is the helping verb, know is the main verb. I did not play football in school. I did not, or he did not play football in school, or she did not play football in school. Whatever the subject is, did is going to be there. All right. He did not, she did not, we did not, they did not. It doesn't change. Okay. So did is the helping verb, plays the main verb. Does he sing? Does he sing? Does he sing? Right? Does he sing? Does he do something? Does he sing? Does he dance? Does she sing? Does Rahul go to college? Something like that. Okay, it's used in present indefinite tense, simple present tense. Okay, and did is used in simple past tense. Do and does is used in simple present tense, and did is used in simple past tense. Okay, do you want to eat something? Do you want to eat something? Do you want to eat something? Do is the helping verb, and want is the main verb. Okay, and to eat is the infinitive. All right, now can they be used in affirmative sentences? Yes, they can. And when they're used in affirmative sentences, they're basically used to emphasize on the action. Okay, let me show you some examples. I do love you. I do love you. So the simple sentence is I love you. Let's suppose I say I love you and you don't believe me. You say, you're just kidding. You don't love me. You've never loved me. What are you talking about? And I say, no, I do love you. So I'm using do to focus on, to emphasize on what I'm saying, to make you believe what I'm saying. All right. I do love you. Right. Trust me. I do love you. I love you. I do love you. Right. I'm just emphasizing on this entire thing. Okay. So I love you is perfectly fine. I do love you. Perfectly fine. She did call me last night. She called me last night. She called me last night. You're not believing me, huh? Come on, man. She's not gonna call you. Whatever. What are you talking about? She did call me last night. So after did, you have to use the first form of the verb, right? She did call me. She did go out with me. She did help me. She did eat with me. Something like that. Okay. She did call me last night. She called me last night. She called me last night. You're not believing me. You're like, what are you talking about? She's not going to call you. Hey, she did call me last night. He does smoke. You just don't know about it. He smokes. He smokes. You don't believe me. He does smoke. So when you're using does, after that, you have to use the verb in the first form, in the base form. no s or es, right? He does smoke, he does call, he does dance, he does speak. Don't say smokes or dances or speaks, even though the subject is singular. The verb is not going to have s or es at the end of it because it's there. It's in this word does. Okay, he does smoke, she does smoke, she does study, something like that. So we use do, does, and did in affirmative sentences to focus on what we're saying. When the person is not believing us, we use these auxiliaries to emphasize on our message. Okay. Now to have. In to have, we have three verbs: has, have, and had. Okay, and these are used in has and have are used in present perfect tense, and had is used in past perfect tense. Okay, here are some examples. You have helped me a lot. You have helped, right? And these are followed by a past participle. You have helped me a lot. They have helped me a lot. Have helping verb, helped main verb. Sam has gone to his uncle's. Sam has gone. Has helping verb, gone, third form, past participle. Sam has gone to his uncle's, which means his uncle's place. His uncle's. Okay. The train had left when we reached the station. The train had left. Had helping verb, left main verb, past perfect tense. Okay. Hope you got it. I have videos on all the tenses. You can watch them separately if you want to. Okay. The next type of the helping verb or the auxiliary verb is modal auxiliary verb. Okay. We use modal verbs to show the possibility of an action or to ask for a permission or to give permission or to make a request and many more things. All right. And these are the modal verbs, modal auxiliary verbs we have in English. Okay. Can, could, may, might, must, should, would, will, and shall. Okay. Let's understand how to use them. Okay. You can win the competition. You can win the competition. So we use can to show what we are capable of, to talk about our ability and capability. Okay, what we are capable of. You can win the competition. That means you are able to do that. You have the capability to win the competition. Okay, you can win the match. You can beat me in a fight, right? You can do this. You can also use it to make a request, but that's not very formal or polite. Can I use your phone? That's a request, but it's not very polite, right? You use can to make a request when it's your friend or your family member. It's somebody that's very close to you. Hey, can you pass that to me? You'll say something like that to your friend, to your family member, to somebody that's very close to you, but not to somebody who you're not very familiar with, not very close to. Good. Could you teach me English? So could is also used to talk about the capability of a person. I could eat all of this, right? And it is also the past form of can. I can win the competition. It's in the present. I could win the competition last month, right? So it is the past form of can as well. I could call you yesterday. I was able to call you yesterday. I was capable of calling you yesterday. I could beat that guy last year. I could beat that guy. I had the ability, I had the capability of beating that guy last year, right? Could is also used to make a request, right? A very polite request. Could you teach me English? Could you teach me English, right? So I'm making a request. Could you do that? Could you pass the salt to me? Could you pass the bottle to me, right? I could not write properly in school. So I'm talking about what I was not capable of in the past. I cannot write properly. This is in the present. I could not write properly in school. It's about the past, right? Um, may. May is used to talk about the possibility of an event, the possibility of an action. It may rain today. It may rain today. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to rain. Neither am I saying it's not going to rain. I'm saying it may rain. So there are chances, there are possibility of happening this event, right? The event may happen. It may rain today. Okay. May I sit here? So may is very polite when it comes to make a request, right? It is the best word that you can use to make a request. May you pass the bottle, please? May I sit here, right? It is also used to ask for a permission. When you want to take permission from somebody, you can use may, right? May I sit here? May I use your car? May I use your laptop? Right? You can use could as well, but may is actually more formal and polite than could, right? But understand this: a lot of people misread this, misunderstand this. It's not about the word you use, it's about how you say that, right? It's about the tone of your voice, it's about the politeness you have in it, right? If you say, may you pass the bottle to me, may I sit here, may I use your laptop, even though you're using may, which is the most polite word, right? But you don't have the nice tone, right? Like you don't sound polite, right? You can sound polite using can as well. Can you pass the bottle to me? Can I sit here? Can I use your bottle? Right. So you just have to understand the difference. But at the end of the day, it's about how you use that word. Whatever you use, you have to be polite. Okay. But if you use may, that's the most polite word out there. Okay. We might get invited to the party. So might is just like may, right? It is also used to talk about the possibility of an action, of an event, but the possibility is slightly, lesser than may, right? If I say it may rain today, it's 70-80% chance it actually may happen. It might rain today, it might rain, right? The possibility is there, but I'm not very confident about it, right? But again, in our daily lives, we use these words interchangeably without any difference, right? You can use may or might and give the same meaning, but this is the technical difference that you have to understand. May refers to a slightly higher possibility and might little less, right? This is what you have to understand. And you do not use might to ask for a permission or to make a request. You don't do that. The next is must. Must is used to talk about an obligation, right? That somebody has put on you, right? For example, you must have the admit card to sit in the exam, right? You must have that. If you don't have it, you cannot sit in the exam. You can use must to give a suggestion. You must try this, man. This dish is amazing. You must try. So it's a suggestion. It's a very strong suggestion. You must do this, right? You can use must to give a piece of advice. You must work hard if you want to clear the exam, right? If you want to do that, if you want to clear the exam, you must work hard. So that's a piece of advice as well. Should is used to give a piece of advice, to give a suggestion, to give a recommendation. Okay, we should work on our limitations, or you should work on your limitations. Okay, that's a piece of advice. You should try the burger, it's amazing, man. You should try the burger, it's amazing, right? So you are recommending something, okay, and that's a recommendation. You should try talking to Rohan, he could help you, that's a suggestion. You should try talking to Rohan, he can help you. Okay, so suggestion. Would is used to refer to a hypothetical, imaginative scenario. Okay, hypothetical. But it is also used to make a polite request. It's very common to use would to make a polite request. For example, would you mind passing the bottle? Would you mind passing the bottle? So this is a very common structure. Would you mind followed by present participle. Would you mind passing the bottle? Would you mind teaching me this? Would you mind sharing some food with me? Would you mind giving me a lift? Something like that. So you use this structure to make a polite request. If I had enough money, I would buy that house. I would buy that house if I had enough money. So that's a hypothetical sentence, right? If I had enough money, which I don't have, okay? If I had it, condition, I would do something. I would, not saying I definitely will do that. I would buy that house, okay? So hypothetical situation. I have a detailed lesson on the model verb would. You should watch that, right? It's an amazing lesson, a very detailed lesson. You'll learn all the usages of the word would. Okay. Will and shall are used to refer to the future. What's going to happen in the future, right? I will see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. It is going to happen. It's a plan, right? From my side, it's going to happen, right? So I will see you tomorrow. I will call you. I will give you some money, right? We shall call you in the evening. You shall pass the test. Okay, shall is not that common in modern English, but again, you can use it, right? So that's how we use these modal verbs. All right. Now we can use these modal verbs with the base form be as a helping verb, right? Now we have two structures in which we can use modal verb plus be. Number one, subject followed by modal verb plus be followed by a present participle in ing form of a verb. Number two, subject modal verb plus be and the main verb is a past participle. Okay, let's look at some examples and master this as well. You could be playing with us in the next match. You could be playing. Could be is the helping verb, playing is the main verb. You could be playing with us in the next match. We don't know, but it could be happening in the future. It could be. Not sure about that. Possibility. It could be happening in the future. She must be working right now. She must be. I am sure that it is happening, right? She must be working right now. That's my guess, okay? And I'm quite sure about it. I'm quite confident about it. She must be working right now. She is working. She must be. Okay. I would be joining you guys if my parents come back on time. If my parents come back on time, that's a condition. If the condition is fulfilled, I would be joining you guys. I would be doing something. I would be. Okay. I would be joining. So here these modal verbs and be are followed by a present participle and ing form of verb. Playing, working, joining. Okay. These can be followed by a past participle. You should be selected for the profile, for this profile, and this is the passive voice. This is the active voice and this is the passive voice. You should be selected, right? Somebody should select you. You should be selected for the profile, for this profile. Helping verb, main verb. We could be invited to her party. We could be invited, right? Somebody could invite us to her party, right? We could be invited. Helping verb, main verb. Okay, so that's what a helping verb and auxiliary verb is. Now we know what a helping verb is, different types of helping verbs, how to use them, how to identify them. We know everything about them. And always remember, after the helping verb, you're going to have the main verb, an action verb. If nothing is coming after the helping verb, that's not working as a helping verb, that's working as a main verb. All right. You should check my lesson on main verbs, right? You learn the difference between main verbs and helping verbs as well. So now we've come to the end of the lesson. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something new today, right? If you did, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Press that notification button, bell icon. Because if you do that, you'll get notified every single time I publish a lesson, and you don't have to search for my videos. You can just watch them when they're done, when they're published, right? So do that, and if you have any questions, any doubts, do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, keep learning, have fun, take care of yourself. I'm out. Namaskar.